The Prophet ﷺ said, verily, Shaytan is lying overweight over the heart of the child of Adam. He's waiting right over your heart to see when he can get in. He's waiting for the opportunity to ambush. And when is that ambush? That ambush is when you forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can I wait for him to forget so I can penetrate at that moment? So the Prophet ﷺ said, if you remember Allah, he sinks away. He can't do anything. He has to retreat. He has absolutely nothing to get into if you remember Allah, because that's your fortress, is the remembrance of Allah in your heart, in your words, in your deeds, the places in which Allah is remembered. Shaytan is just not finding an opening. But the moment that you forget, Shaytan will devour your heart. And that is al-waswas al-khannas, the whisperer and the one who retreats. He waits for the moment that you forget Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so he can penetrate. So a space or a place, including the heart and the mind, where Allah is not remembered is right for the Shaytan. He's waiting for it.
Look at the trick of Shaytan, man. When Shaytan knocks on your door, Shaytan does not want you to open it fully. Just a little peep, a little, who is it? That's all he wants. A little crack. That's all Shaytan wants. Shaytan has all the time in the world. Shaytan wants a little crack.
Shaytan always starts with something very good from the very beginning. He gives you something very delightful, something very honorable. Look at us, alhamdulillah, I could worship Allah Azza wa Jalla through this. But then the end goal is evil.
Look at the trap of Shaytan, man. Look at the trap of haram. Look at what, looking at just one look at a girl. Just one look. One cigarette, brother. Brother, it's only a cigarette. I'm not having pot. I'm not having, no. It's just a cigarette, brother. Yes, my brother, now it's just a cigarette. Brother, now it's just one look. Brother, now it's just SMS between you and her. Now she's just a Facebook buddy, you know. But tomorrow, my brother, you don't know where that is. You see, if you and I are walking now on the same road, and I take a one degree angle, just 1 degree. If I take 1 degree, can you notice it? Very little. But after a long distance, though it's only 1 degree, how far will I be from the original point? Big gap.
In other words, there are things that are clearly wrong. You and I know that. There are things that are clearly wrong. But there are a lot of small, not as clearly wrong steps that are there that you should have the sense to know, if I take this one tiny step, tomorrow I'll be taking another tiny step, and then another, and then another, and before I know it, I'll end up in the wrong. So you have to put protective measures in place. And when you put those protective measures in place, it keeps you from falling into trouble. Now Shaytan comes and he doesn't attack, or he doesn't tell you to make the haram into halal. Oh, that's too direct. And the Muslim will say, no, it's obviously haram. I'm not going to do that. He comes and he says, listen, this one little step I'm asking you to take, it's clearly not haram. That's not wrong. You could do that much at least. There's nobody that can blame you for that. And then people come and say to the scholar, to the alim, to the da'i, to the khatib, hey, so I know that drinking is wrong, but can I hang out with friends who drink? I mean, I'm not going to the bar or anything, but sometimes they drink in my office. Can I just be with them? Just, because, they're my friends. Can I at least do that much? Is it absolutely haram for me to do that? And the scholar will say something like, I advise you not to do it. It's not a good idea. It's bad company. But is it haram? Is it absolutely haram? And he says, well, I don't know if I could say it's okay, thanks, I got my answer. It's not absolutely haram, which means I could do it. And that's how Shaytan gets you to first hang out with them. Then they say, hey, we're going to the bar, you want to come along? Then you go to the bar and you're just having a Coke or whatever, and they're drinking their beer. And then eventually one late night, it's a little bit of can you just slip some in? Somebody gave it to you, or they slipped it into your drink and you didn't realize. And you're like, well, I didn't intend to do it. And it's just one thing after another, after another, after another. SubhanAllah. Shaytan will not come at you directly calling you to do the wrong thing. Shaytan will come at you to try to just compromise or get on the road to the wrong. And by the way, when you're on that road, until you do the wrong, nobody can come out and directly tell you, listen, by the way, this is wrong what you're doing. Because it's not wrong. It's on the road to it. And if you don't recognize that you're being pulled slowly but surely towards it, then you only have yourself to blame.
Shaytan, my brothers in Islam, drags you, tows you, step after step, from something small to something bigger to something major, and then it's the end of you.
The main tool of Shaytan is procrastination. Wait. He didn't tell you don't pray when you went to sleep at night. He said, prolong your sleep. He didn't tell you salah is not important. Don't remember Allah. Don't do wudu. He said, what a long day you've had. Shh, alayka laylun tawil. Sleep. Sleep. Put off your prayer. It's okay. The time will come. And that is how Shaytan corrupts all of our acts of worship. When we know, at least here, that worship is important and that we have to do what we have to do, then Shaytan can merely mess with our priorities. He can merely mess with us by making us procrastinate. And isn't that the cause of failure for a person, right? In their personal affairs as well. I know what to do, but I don't really do it because, well, I've had a long day. I know I should be doing this, but I'm stuck in this. I know that I should be making this change in my life, but everyone else around me does it too, so I can wait. A sense of urgency is put off of you. And that is a disease. That is a disease. May Allah protect us from it. With our overcoming of sins, when we know we're committing a sin. I know I have the sin. It's not as bad as that person's sin. Everyone else does it anyway. It's okay. I can wait. Maybe next Ramadan. This Ramadan, I didn't really feel it inside. Who told you you're going to live to see the next Ramadan? Who told you you're going to live to see the next Jum'ah? The next day? But in your mind, it's subconscious. Yeah, I know I could be doing this obligation a little bit better, but alhamdulillah, at least I'm doing something. I'm kind of doing this obligation, so I can put off fulfilling it later on. Besides, look at everyone else around me. I have time. Procrastination. That's what Shaytan's going to come. He's not going to immediately corrupt your ideas or standards. He'll just break your spirits and busy you and mess with your priorities. So you keep putting stuff off, putting stuff off, putting stuff off. Listen to this narration. It's in a Tirmidhi. Jabir radiallahu anhu says that the Prophet ﷺ said, "Inna ash-shaytana قد يئس أن يعبده المصلون ولكن في التحريش بينهم." Shaytan has given up hope that he can take people who pray to Allah and make them pray to him. He's lost hope in you in that sense. He knows that you pray, or that you at least know that you should be worshipping Allah. So what does he do instead? He busies you with each other. تحريش بينهم. Let me create discord and fitna amongst them, so that they can fight each other, because they're not worshipping me. But if they fight each other, at least they'll be too busy then to worship Allah. And that will give me more entrance to penetrate.
Shaytan, never ever think for a second that Shaytan wants goodness for you. Even if he shows you and proposes to you or gives you something that looks very good, reject it.
And so you and I have to recognize there are some things that are clearly haram, but there's a road that leads to them. We have to watch out and not go on that track that Shaitan's trying to reel us into.
We all know the Shaytan. The Shaytan and the evilness of the Shaytan, that's something we all grew up with. But our problem is, why do we listen to the Shaytan? Why? When we all know the Shaytan wants to destroy us. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين.